Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Pop HR, the podcast where we dive into the hottest trends and challenges in the world of work, business, and HR. I'm your host, Peter Breeze, and today we're talking about the rise of AI in SaaS and how it's changing, what that could mean for HR. Plus, we have a listener Q&A segment, the first one. I'm so excited. Featuring two unique questions, that is putting it mildly, that tackle common workplace dilemmas. So stay tuned. Before we get started, don't forget to rate, subscribe, share the podcast. You can also reach out to me directly at pophrpod@gmail.com. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to hear, you can also find me on TikTok at pophrpod. That's it. That's it. Hope you're having a good Monday so far. First of all, for those of you who've been following the last three episodes, I am sorry. The last one was 20 minutes, okay? And I didn't realize I recorded it Monday morning and it was a busy morning, so I went a little bit over. Today, we're going to stick within our goal of 10 minutes. So let's jump right into it. AI and the current state of SaaS in HR. So the reason why I want to talk about this again, I am typically and generally an AI optimist. I have really high hopes for the way that it can change our lives for the better, but I saw a post this week that made me a little nervous, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But to set the tone, I just want to talk about the current state of SaaS and HR. So AI's rapid integration into SaaS platforms includes some interesting stats. 73% of HR leaders believe AI will play a major role in HR strategies by 2025. That's from the Gartner 2023. I would actually push back and say that's already happening. Not fully flushed out, but we have already talked about the use of AI in talent acquisition, and there are rumblings of how AI will continue to embed itself in HR. So even though it's not fully realized, I think it's already here because it's happening in conversations with teams across the world. AI is being used to automate tasks like recruitment, data analysis, and employee engagement. Yes. Reduction in administrative tasks for HR professionals, freeing up time for strategic initiatives. This is something I talk to a lot day to day. Is the reason why HR leaders are drawn to technology in the first place is because they need to free up their time. 5 years ago, even 5 years ago, and if you want to go back like 10, 20 years ago, HR has historically just been a system of record. They took employee data, they stored it, they represented the company if there was any employee issues. It was very administrative. But since COVID, especially, we've seen HR evolve to being a more strategic part of businesses and organizations. And the way that they can be most effective is if they're using technology to free up their time so that they can actually bring new ideas and initiatives to the table. So that's typically what draws people to HR tech, which makes sense. We have programs and platforms like HiBob, Workday, and Bamboo HR that are using AI to predict turnover and improve employee satisfaction. Amazing. And IBM's AI platform boosts diversity in hiring, with some companies reporting 30% increase in diverse candidates. That's amazing. And also reminds me, I want to talk about the DEI revolution and how that has worked to various degrees of success. There are some ethical challenges, though, with integrating AI into HR. A study by Deloitte found that 56% of HR professionals are concerned about the ethics, which is funny because I just said that 30% saw an increase in diverse candidates. Don't know what that means. Of AI and decision making, particularly around fairness and transparency. Makes sense. A quote from the CEO, Julie Sweet of Accenture, said AI is fundamentally reshaping the employee experience by reducing administrative burdens and giving HR leaders data driven insights to make better decisions. This is a no-brainer. This is not, I don't think anybody's going to argue against the fact of freeing up time for HR leaders and allowing them to be more strategic. That's a no-brainer. I think the question becomes, how much do you embed AI into your processes and the ethical concerns? But again, this is all happening so fast in real time. We don't really have a benchmark yet. So everything that I just talked about, I think is a good thing. The platforms that I mentioned that are already integrating AI into their platforms are going to help and are already helping HR leaders. So I would say now we're at a good place. This is what I heard last week that freaked me out a little bit. Klarna is an organization, I believe they're a bank. They made a bold move by replacing Salesforce and Workday with internal AI systems. So, as a caveat, this might be an old story. It's new to me. The reason why this freaked me out, well, let's sort of break down what that means. So, for those of you who don't know, Workday is a massive HCM slash HRIS platform that enterprise organizations use to manage the employee experience, everything from financials, payroll, surveys, um, applicant tracking, hiring, everything lives in one place. Very popular legacy company, but there has been a lot of pushback to Workday over the years where companies are moving to more modern HRIS solutions like HiBob, Bamboo HR, and Rippling. And you can Google Workday and get some customer reviews on that. People either love it or they hate it. So it's a massive system. Salesforce is another massive system. I don't even know how to describe Salesforce, to be honest. If you haven't heard of it, Google it. I've used it in all my jobs, and it's essentially it controls your clients and your prospects. It gives you data, it creates reports. It's very robust, both of these platforms. So when I read that Klarna has used internal AI to create custom solutions to replace these two, I'm like, what? This happened so fast. That is a huge statement and a huge accomplishment if they've actually done that. So they say they've saved approximately 25% in software licensing costs after developing this in-house AI system. That is what the Financial Times said in 2024. Basically, what they did, they used AI to tailor more customized than those platforms already can be to the company's needs. So the benefits of in-house AI, companies can build internal AI systems and see productivity gains of up to 40%. I guess if you can create something that's completely custom and tailored to the flows of your organization, again, no brainer. And having greater control over data, deeper integrations with company specific workflows. Obviously, this, as if I was a business owner and my job, if I was Jeff Cates, and my job was to increase profits, drop spending, and increase productivity. And I had a tool that basically meant I could stop spending money on any outside platform, technology, or service and create it all in-house. That would, like, from a capitalistic standpoint, it would be amazing. Kind of dystopian, because think about this for a second. If you take out SaaS, software as a service, and technology in general goes away because AI companies can have their own internal AI systems to do a better job than these SaaS platforms. That's going to eliminate an entire industry, not just jobs, an entire industry that I'm a part of. So I am optimistic about AI. This is the first thing I read that freaked me out. Sebastian Siemiatowski, who is the CEO of Klarna, said, by developing our own AI tools, we've not only reduced costs, but also gained a strategic advantage by building systems that are deeply aligned with our unique flows and business needs. Cool, great. The challenges of the internal AI system, only 10% of companies have the resources to build AI from scratch. That's what Deloitte said. And the initial costs for internal AI are about 50% higher than purchasing SaaS solutions. Okay, so you're going to have to consider the initial investment versus long-time solution. Some feedback that I saw in the comments, a lot of people speculate on whether or not this is true and if the internal systems are actually working. This may be a strategy and sort of a story that they're putting out there to help their transition to IPO. I don't know about that. Again, if they were able to create this from scratch, it would be incredibly impressive and also speak to the speed at which AI is developing. So I'm going to keep a pulse on this. If AI comes for my job first, please subscribe to my damn podcast. I'm not asking you for money yet, but I will soon if that happens. Okay, we only got a couple minutes left. This happened a lot faster than I thought it was. I got 2 questions from my listeners. Okay. I'm not going to use personal names. I'm not going to release companies. I'm going to keep it anonymous. So if you have a question about work, reach out to me, pophrpod@gmail.com or TikTok. I'm also on LinkedIn if you want to find me there. Okay. The first question is, and now I am obviously not an expert. I'm not a lawyer. I work in HR, but I am not like, this is my personal opinion. Okay. So don't take it for law, please, dear God. It's supposed to be fun, tongue in cheek, like going to a psychic. Okay. What should I do if my boss wants to host our holiday party on the weekend, even though the whole team voted against it? This irritates the beep out of me because why on God's green earth would you ask your team to vote for which day they wanted to do the party and then have it on the weekend? I suspect they're doing this because they don't want to lose a day of work. But come on, it's the holidays. Like doing it on the weekend, I would say no, like hard stop. And I would try and get all my employees not to go. This is a really good opportunity if you feel comfortable enough to say this to your boss, maybe as a group about employee feedback. I heard recently there was talk over the past couple of years about companies being reluctant to ask for employee feedback because they said, no, we don't want to overwhelm our employees with asking too many questions. They get survey fatigue. No, no, they don't. They get lack of option. No, lack of action fatigue. They will tell you what they want and need until their face is blue. Do you know what pisses them off? When they tell you and you don't do it. Don't have a holiday party on Saturday unless you're going to pay people. My God, that irritates me. Unless the whole team wants to. Like if you work with all your best friends and you want to like kiki all night and stay up till the crack of dawn, then be my guest. My personal take on that would be use it as an opportunity to talk to your boss. This one's a little bit more controversial. What should I do if I'm attracted to my boss and sense there is chemistry? Woo. All right. Well, first of all, when you onboard at any company, there's probably very strict rules around dating, especially with power dynamics, especially with a boss. I would start by reading that because regardless of what you want, you don't want to get fired. I'm going to speak as if it was me because I don't know you. I know you a little bit, but not that well. If I was attracted to my boss and in my one-on-ones, I'm getting a vibe. And I think, at the company events, having a couple cocktails, the eyes are happening. I would probably find a time outside of work, ask them to go for a coffee, see if that is existing outside of the workplace. I don't think it's a bad thing for me personally, maybe would see if they wanted to go for dinner, have like a one or two outside of work social connection. Don't call it a damn date. See what happens. And if I really did feel like they could be a partner, I would probably be transparent to be like, look, I'm feeling this. Are you feeling this? How should we navigate it? That's what I would do. We are at 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Pop HR Podcast. I'm here every Monday. Send me your questions. Please rate, subscribe. It helps me so much, honestly, if you can rate the podcast because it shows up so much faster. And y'all know I'm the best podcast you've ever heard. Follow me on TikTok. I think I have 21 followers, which is kind of sad. But I am happy to be here. If you're happy to be here too. So have a great week. I will be back next week with more topics. I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.